Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mel and this is Mel Speaks MD, where I vlog about all things beauty, lifestyle, and medicine. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in. Again, I know it is not easy to tune into somebody who rarely posts, so I so appreciate it. Welcome if you are new. Hope you like what you see. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am plump in the face and round in the belly. Yes, I am with child, but that's not going to stop me from posting and sharing this video. Okay, today I wanted to talk a little bit about friendship because it's been on my heart for a while, because honestly, like, the older I get, the more I realize, like, time just literally just in a blink of an eye, you wake up and then you're wondering about that friend, that close friend you had in college. Like, I wonder what happened to so and so, or that friend that you hung out with all the time in high school. Like, I wonder how this person's doing. I wonder how everything. I'm not on Facebook. I know you guys see my last video, right? Why I left social media. I'm not on Facebook. I actually left Twitter. My only form of social media is YouTube. I do connect with friends and family through Messenger and WhatsApp, right? I've realized that as I get older, if I don't make a concerted effort to contact and meet and talk to and continue to grow the relationships with these people, it very quickly kind of fades into nothingness. Like, we all have our own lives. We all have our own things going on. We have kids, we have our jobs, new things happening on a consistent basis, and we don't have time sometimes to connect with the people that we once called very close friends. And it's a fact of life. It just is what it is, right? We're not all still talking to our high school friends or our college buddies, right? We've moved on, we've kind of grown up, developed our own lifestyles and ways of thinking and things of that nature. So we drift apart naturally. I think it's a natural drifting apart. But I would say that oftentimes what happens is people find themselves isolated, especially after this pandemic. I talked about a little bit about it in one of my videos, but loneliness is an epidemic in and of itself in this country. People are not reaching out to each other. People aren't reaching out. They're not staying in contact with friends, right? Because the lure of the internet is so strong that it makes you feel like you're doing something with your life when in fact you're probably just wasting it. If you're not connecting with people regularly, don't be surprised if 10 years passes and you find that you have no friends. Because it's a very easy thing to happen. And I'm talking about this now because I'm actually in primary care now. So I work in a clinic setting where I see patients on a continual basis. They come back in, and I have a couple of older patients who come in. When I think about how life can happen and you can quickly turn 60 and 70 and 80 years old and find yourself friendless, which is what happens with a lot of elderly people, I realized that it doesn't start when you're 50, 60, and 70 years old, right? These things happen as when we're in our 20s and 30s and transitioning. We don't quite figure out how to develop and maintain those friendships that are going to last us a lifetime. I've been through a period of time where I didn't have any friends, and I can tell you now that that was probably one of the worst times of my life. And this was in medical school. This is a topic for another video, right? My medical school experience, how it shaped me and how I think today. But I didn't really have any friends. I had a few people that I studied with in the beginning. I wasn't making an effort to stay in contact with them during our clinical years. And so I kind of fell off, and I didn't realize how important it was to maintain those friendships. And so a lot of medical school was alone, right? And I struggled a lot because I didn't realize that certain things were, certain rotations were to be avoided, certain attendings were toxic. I didn't have anybody, an outlet to kind of share my frustrations with. I didn't realize that I wasn't the only one dealing with how I was feeling. The reason why I understand the importance of friendship is because I went through a time where I didn't have any friends, and it was difficult. And I didn't realize that the reason why it was so difficult, not because it was medical school, because medical school is tough, but if you did well during your undergraduate years, you didn't struggle. Like, I'm not bragging, but I graduated with honors with a greater than 3.5 science GPA. So like, I was averaging A's in all of my science classes. The content of medical school wasn't what was difficult. It was the social structure. I didn't have a social structure that would have allowed me to basically navigate medical school. Granted, I got through it successfully. I did, right? And it was difficult, but it could have been a lot easier if I had some friends, right? And so my point is saying that I've been through before, so I know how sometimes people end up friendless. They don't have any friends. So if this is you watching and you feel like, I don't have any friends, my recommendation to you is to take a good look in the mirror. All these people that are around you on a constant basis, and you haven't been able to forge a friendship with anybody. Sometimes it's not everybody else, and sometimes it's you. And I can say that from experience, because it was me. Like I was the person in medical school that because I had been dealing with depression and new anxiety, right? I kind of, blocked people out. I can say that now in hindsight. I didn't realize that I was doing that at the time, but I kind of kept people away because I was dealing with a lot. I didn't know how to process it. If you're that person who doesn't have friends and you don't know why, look in the mirror. It's like that friend that you have who's kind of a serial monogamous, 15 failed relationships, and they can't figure out, well, I'm not sure why these guys or these girls, I'm not sure why I can't make it work with them. For some reason, I'm a great person, I'm a great catch, and I can't seem to find somebody. Or somebody who's been divorced 5 times. At some point, you gotta look around and be like, okay, wait a second now. Is it me? Like, am I the issue? Like, am I doing something wrong? Kind of turn the magnifying glass, on yourself and analyze how you're walking through life. Then you can start to honestly assess why it is that you don't have friends. And so again, not judging nobody, right? Because I've been there myself. I didn't know it at the time, but I realized I wasn't really trying to reach out to people. Thankfully now I do have, a good group of friends around me who I've known for basically my entire life. I have some friends from college that I'm still very much so in contact with, and those people that are around me, because I realize how delicate and how important it is to maintain friendships, I try to make sure that I am staying in contact with them, because my God, like time passes so quickly. And those of you guys who are like in your early 20s, just wait, okay? Just wait until you get into your 30s, your mid 30s. You'll see how quickly things start to like move, and you really can't slow it down. You don't get a chance to slow it down. It just keeps going. So if this is you, if you're that person, you don't have friends, go through your life with a fine-tooth comb and figure out, okay, well, what am I doing? Like, is it possibly me? Could I potentially be the issue here? Because quite frankly, if you can't do that, then it's very difficult. It's very hard to grow. Not to say that you're always the issue, right? Because sometimes it's really the people around you. Sometimes it's just that the people around you have been toxic, or they don't care, or they have their own things going on. They haven't really tried to reach out to you. Sometimes it is that. We're all kind of in need of friendship, and sometimes you got to be the one to be kind of reeling that person in. I've been in a situation where I've been reeled in by friends that I'm still friends with till this day. They saw that I wasn't in a good place, and they were able to realize that I needed somebody, and so they reeled me in. I thank God for the fact that they were able to see that, hey, she needs somebody right now, and I'm going to be her friend. And I can tell you right now that those kinds of people are 1 in a million. Like, those kinds of people are 1 in a million, because most people, when you're not giving them any kind of feedback, most people don't hang around for very long. And so the times that, I've had friends who have really been trying to get me out, I'm so thankful for those people. You don't come across those kinds of people all the time. So Michelle Obama has a book called The Light We Carry, which I highly recommend for anybody who just wants some sage and wise advice. She talks about how she takes very seriously her friendships. She chooses her friendships wisely. She has her relationship with her husband, has her relationship with her kids and her mom and the people in the White House, but she also has these, even though she was in the White House bubble, she managed to maintain her friendships and even make new friends while she was the first lady. That's not an easy thing to do. She was deliberate about holding on to friendships, making friends. She even said that, and speaking of toxic friends, she even said that some people didn't make the cut. Some people literally she was friends with before the White House, and they couldn't handle, she wasn't able to take them through life. And so this isn't to say that everybody you're friends with you have to hold on to forever, because sometimes you just have to cut people out. But the fact is, when you make friends, you do what you can to, 1, choose them wisely, and 2, just kind of foster that relationship with them and develop it over time, right? Tabitha Brown also wrote a book, and she talked about friendship. She would have dinner with, some of her friends who became her family, their chosen family. She made it a point to have like a potluck dinner every week, to have these people come together. And sometimes you're going to be that person who has to bring everybody together. And this part is for people who have friends and don't feel like they're being valued by their friends. Sometimes some people just are not very good at getting people together. Sometimes that is your gift. Sometimes you're just that person who, you know what, I'm always the one to plan. I'm always the person who's getting everybody together for dinner. I'm always the person who's planning our trips and coordinating schedules. It's always me. Why is it always me? Do they care? If that is you, there's a good chance that there's a reason why you're the person who's planning those things. And usually it's because you're probably the best one at it. In those groups of friends, you're always going to have people who are really dependable, people who are a little bit flaky, right? You're going to have people who, show up and complain, right? You're going to have people who plan everything, who are very bossy and, punctual. And you're always going to have all of those different dynamics of people. And the point is to kind of accept each other for who you are and to continue to make those connections.
Whew, it's getting hot in here. Oh my God.
The point is, if you don't have friends, then there may be a reason for that. And I encourage you to kind of reevaluate what you're doing, because life is about connecting with people. Life is short, but it's also very long. And if you're not making connections with the people around you, then it can be pretty miserable. And so do what you can to make those connections. If you're not actively doing things to maintain, sustain, grow, develop your friendships, then don't be surprised if over time people kind of fall off, right? It's like a tree. You have all these leaves on a tree, and sometimes if you're not watering the tree, the plant, or whatever you want to call it, the leaves start to fall off. And that's a natural part of life. Right? It's just a natural part. If you're not watering it, they're going to fall off. Sometimes they fall off even if you water them. But again, that's just a natural part of life. Some leaves are just not meant to stick around. Just do what you can to make meaningful relationships with people. Because again, that's what life's about. Our lives are not our own. I'm realizing that as I get older, our lives are for the people around us. They are to glorify God. That's just what it is. And if you are someone who is alone and doesn't have any connections, then do what you can to find those connections with the people around you. I had these conversations with a couple of friends of mine. I talk to my patients and try to find out what their social situations are like and what's happening at home, right? Because half of medical care is what we can do, the other half is what they can do for themselves. And sometimes people don't have the social structure to take care of themselves. And so it starts now. It starts, in your youth. It starts when you are capable of going out and fostering those relationships with your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, your friends from work, friends from school. Make those connections, maintain them, and don't be shy about wanting them, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting friends. My dad used to tell us, oh, you don't need friends. But I realized he was wrong. I love you, Dad, but you're wrong. You do need friends. Friends are important. In fact, my dad is my friend now. He is. Sort of. Hope you guys enjoyed what I had to say, and hope you guys got something from it, because I feel like I rambled a little bit. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, honestly. Tell me what your experience has been like with your friends. If you have friends, if you don't have friends, don't be shy and get the conversation started, because honestly, we're all in the same boat. We're all dealing with this, right? We're all getting older. we're all kind of going through these phases of life and trying to figure things out. We've all gone through this awful pandemic and made it out alive, thank God, right? And yeah, now we're on the other side and we keep growing. And so yeah, again, comment, subscribe, all of the above, of course. And as always, I wish you guys the best. Be kind to one another, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.